exactly is this concept of the Mahdi? Is it true or is it superstition? Do we really believe in it? Are there authentic evidences, or is it something that, people have just invented to, misguide humanity? Now, before we begin, what exactly is the word Mahdi? The word Mahdi comes from Hidayah or Huda, which means guidance. And Mahdi means the one who is rightly guided. So Mahdi is a name. Maybe one of you is called Mahdi. It's a name. And some of the Khulafa were called Mahdi. And one of the famous Abbas al-Khulafa, his father called him Al-Mahdi, meaning the rightly guided one. And there's nothing wrong with the name, but in this case, Mahdi is a title, not a name. And it means the one whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has rightly guided. Where do we get the information of the Mahdi? The Quran has nothing directly or indirectly about the Mahdi. There is no verse that even indirectly references the Mahdi himself. But we have over 20 ahadith about the Mahdi that are authentic. Some of them in Bukhari and Muslim, the most famous book of hadith after Bukhari and Muslim, which is Abu Dawood. It has an entire chapter called the chapter of the Mahdi. He entitled a chapter, the chapter of the Mahdi. And in it he has over a dozen ahadith, different ahadith about the Mahdi. So Abu Dawood, the muhaddith, the scholar of hadith, is writing in his famous book an entire section called the section pertaining to the Mahdi. Sunan at-Tirmidhi also has the chapter about the Mahdi. And in the chapter title is the word Mahdi. Some of the great scholars of hadith, they mentioned belief in the Mahdi as being one of the signs of Judgment Day. And therefore, it is correct to say that the vast majority of scholars of our tradition, they affirm the concept of this righteous person coming towards the end of times, and they believed in this concept. Now, we are going to mention, inshallah ta'ala today, the difference between what we believe and what some of the other groups believe. But Sunnis, generally speaking, we do believe in the Mahdi. Why? Because it's in the books of Sunnah, it's in the books of Hadith, and we affirm the books of Hadith. So, let us now mention at least 10 or so of these ahadith, and from them let us derive some of the characteristics of the Mahdi. Of them, authentic hadith in Sunan Abu Dawood, that the Prophet ﷺ said, hadith is in Abu Dawood, if there was only one day left in this world, Allah would make it longer, so that a person from my family, my descendants, will come, whose name is the same as mine, and whose father's name is the same as my father's. And he will fill the world with justice like it had been filled with injustice. This is the most authentic Hasan hadith about the Mahdi. From it we learn 3 things. Well, more, but at least 3. Number 1, the name of the Mahdi will be what? Muhammad. Number 2, Ibn who? Ibn Abdullah. Number 3, what will he do? Fill the world with justice as it had been filled with injustice. Now we can also add one more point here, number 4. When will this happen? Towards the end of times. Because the hadith begins with what? If there's only one day left, Allah will make it longer. Which means the Mahdi will come towards the end of time.